And blessings, brothers and sisters. In order for you to have a sound mind, you have to have sound information. So I want to establish a foundation amongst us as a family. And it all starts in the mind. I want to give you the definition of networking, and I want to share that with you this morning, and I want to touch bases on the mentality that has to change, that has been formed and shaped, unfortunately, by colonialism and the tool that was utilized via colonialism was slavery, as we know. And so the definition of networking is a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. Again, networking, a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. We are family. And our common interest should be the empowerment of our people. Mentally, spiritually, health-wise, and financially. You may know something I don't know. I may know something that you don't know. For instance, I wanted to go into real estate and I had no clue in regards to what real estate entailed. And I had a brother that taught me some things that he knew in regards to real estate. I had no idea what non-GMO products was, and the most I had used my wife to be able to help educate me and to point me in the right direction in regards to what do I need to eat in order for me to be healthier. Now, mind you, I had no clue about real estate. I had no clue about non-GMO products until somebody brought those things to my attention. I had no clue that my name was given to me by a slave master until that was brought to my attention. In order for things to change within our environment, first the mindset must change, because we as individuals influence our environment. So I had a lot of people question me in regards to the reason why I had changed my name. And the reason why I changed my name is because, first and foremost, that's not my name. Okay, I know some people say, well, your mama called you, this, so I'm going to call you this. And I know that's a joke that goes around and what have you in regards to that matter. However, that was the name of the slave master that was given to my forefathers, that was disseminated for centuries. And it has to stop at some point. And so I do not believe that the Most High woke me up for me to continue to walk around in ignorance once the awareness has been brought to me in regards to my name. And so I changed my name to an African name, because I'm not an Englishman and I'm not Welsh. All right. The name that was given to me at birth is definitely not a name that is derived from my heritage. I cannot be proud of a name that states that I belong to the slave master. I cannot continue to pass on a name that I know that makes the statement that we belong to a slave master. So I relinquished that name, and I'm literally changing my name legally. My wife and I both, we came together and we talked about it. So for those of you who are awakened, I believe that it's it's best for you to sit down with your wife or your husband in a female's matter and dialogue about these matters. And my wife and I, we came to the conclusion that yes, we want to rid ourselves of the slave master name. Why am I saying this? What does that have to do with networking? Because we cannot come together if we do not recognize that we are family. And so many of us do not recognize that we are family because of what happened during the time of slavery by way of colonization. And so, as we all know, we were stripped of our heritage and our forefathers were disseminated throughout the nation and sent to various plantations to work for the slave master. And so thus now you have multiple Africans that are named by way of a slave master. And so because of this separation, it causes separation in our people's minds. So some people feel like because they're not a Jones or a Williams or a Wilson, that they're not related to each other because they don't have the same last name. And a lot of us say, oh, that's not my cousin. That's not, any of my relatives. And we don't even recognize that we're disowning our own people and it's causing division amongst us. We have to put an end of the ignorance domino effect that is occurring within our communities. Somebody has to take a stand and somebody has to take it upon themselves by way of love to reach out to their people within their local communities and to rid the communities of the toxic mentality that has been passed down to us by way of slavery and has been passed down for centuries. So it is imperative for us to break this vicious cycle. And believe it or not, brothers, sisters, it starts with a mindset and also it starts with your name too. I have to ask you that question. How do you feel knowing that the name that you have, if you don't have an African name, has been passed down to you from a slave master and it represents ownership of your ancestors and you, that you are a asset to the slave master when you carry that name, that you belong to that particular slave family that owned your forefathers. Can you really be proud of that name? And I know some people, they don't say it in a sense of pride of being owned, as a slave. But what I'm saying is that how can you be proud of a name that that was given to you by way of slavery? So changing your name represents a change of thought, and it also represents embracing your culture and who you are, and ridding yourself of the Eurocentric mentality that has been disseminated to us for centuries, that's causing us, unfortunately, to even disown each other. So a name is deeper than that. Having a European name is deeper than what some of you think. It is very important to rid yourself of the Eurocentric mentality that we have. Our children, unfortunately, know about Benjamin Franklin, but they don't know about Benjamin Banneker. Our children know about George Washington, but they don't know about George Washington Carver. And it's because of the Eurocentric ideology that's been passed down, and colonialism is still continuing to filter our communities because we haven't took a stand to say that we want our children to learn about their own people within their own communities. We need to have our own teachers to educate. See, you can't know what you're not made aware of. And that's why it's important to be taught. That's why it's important for us to come together to network, for us to disseminate information to one another that will help elevate our minds and that will help us to grow in knowledge and wisdom and understanding, again, in spirituality, in health, in economics, our heritage. We have to take our communities back. And how can we help each other if we're not talking to each other? You cannot know about a program that you're not told about. You can't know about a grant writing system that's available to you if you don't know anything about it. There's numerous people that I know that teach health and wellness that can help you. There's people that I know that can teach real estate. Matter of fact, I know a brother that does landscaping. I know another brother that does air conditioning. I know another brother that can provide jobs for your children that are teenagers. Right down here based in Florida. And if we don't have somewhere local, we can connect you to some people within the network that can point you to a global system that can help assist you within that particular geographical location that you're in. It's time for us to start pulling together our resources and have one common cause, and that's to empower our people, to break our people from the Eurocentric mindset that has been passed down to us for centuries. It has to start from somewhere. It starts in the mind. And we have to share this information to help wake our brothers and sisters up that are not aware of what's going on around them. Listen, I had people that came and ministered to me and talked to me when I was going in the wrong direction. And because I was influenced by the wrong mindset, and because people around me had the same mentality, of course they weren't going to make me aware of it because they themselves seen nothing wrong with it. So I had to have somebody that was not asleep that came in and talked to me and began to introduce me to our heritage. And it was a brother that was involved in the fruit of Islam. And matter of fact, he was the one that had taught me about, believe it or not, I had not even had heard of Malcolm X during that time. And unfortunately, I hadn't even heard about Marcus Garvey. I didn't know nothing about those two historical figures and pillars within our community at that particular time. I didn't know anything about them. But this one brother who retained that information introduced me to who they are, and it opened my mind up. And what happened to me was I started becoming set free in the prison of my mind. You know, a lot of us are a prisoner to our own minds, to our own thinking. A changed mind equals a changed life. We got to love each other. We're family. We got to continue to spread the information. We can't be weary in well-doing. I know sometimes we're going to argue, sometimes we're not going to see eye to eye, but we have to be able to handle things in a civil manner. It's time for us to stop fighting each other. And it's time for us to come together, and it's time for us to present the abilities that we have to help enable somebody else to come out of the hole that they're in because of their mindset. A lot of our people are incarcerated in their minds. They're in prison because they were already imprisoned in their minds. A lot of people are not going anywhere because in their minds, they don't see themselves going anywhere. And although the system may fight us back, guess what? I've never seen no war won without resistance. There will be resistance, but we have to go together in a unified front, and we have to continue to disseminate this information. We have to continue to wake our brothers and sisters up, and we have to continue to tell them that they have the ability to get it done. You have to put in the work for it to work. We have to go to school to get the degrees, to practice medicine, to practice law, to be lawyers and to be judges. Okay? You have to have these type of credentials. So education is paramount. I would never tell my child not to go to school to get a degree when I know that they need that degree in order for them to practice medicine. You can't go to a pharmacy. Why do you think the drug dealers get locked up? Because they're practicing medicine illegally. They're selling a narcotic without the proper credentialing and a permission. So we have to be wise enough to fully understand, in order for them to open up their own medical practices, they need the credentialing in order for them to do it, to be in compliance with the law. That's just the bottom line. Now, we need our elders that have these health and wellnesses remedies, that they can use with natural herbs. We need to employ, listen, we have elderly people even within our community. Think about if we can set them up with a shop. Think about if we can get them a space to where they can start sharing that information, at the rec centers. Like here in Pompano Beach, there's free rooms where you can go and you can rent those rooms for free. You don't have to spend no money. And then we start sharing this information. Listen, we have to care about one another. Understand me real good. My son is going to college. I raised my son right. But I go to the Pompano Beach Juvenile Detention Center here, the Youth Treatment Center. You know what else I'm doing? I'm raising up other young men whose fathers and whose parental guardians did not raise them right. Why? For the love I have for my people, not for kudos, not for me to receive a paycheck. I don't even get paid for what I do. I do it out of love. I'm teaching these young men what it really means to be a man, because I recognize that because of the way I was taught, I almost ended my own life because of the choices that I made, because I was taught the wrong way. Gangster rap is more to it than just them, spitting a rhyme, if you will. It's causing our young people to commit suicide, killing themselves. We have to put an end to it. And the only way that we can do it is we come together as one. We are a family. We are one, brothers and sisters. We need to share the love. We need to take out the time to educate our young people. For those who don't listen, unfortunately, we know by wisdom, people perish for the lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge. So it's not always because they're not being taught. Some people are stubborn and they want to do what they want to do. And some people have to learn the hard way. But we have to love each other anyway. So again, networking is a supporting system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. Let's network. Sharing is caring. Peace and blessings. Love you.